How are you?
I'm very good, Cal. How's things, mate?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. Lockdown rules are easing, which is great for everyone. And we've got another episode of the podcast, another Olympian and another MBE.
Yeah, exactly. We've got another brilliant guest, and it's one I'm really, really excited for. We've got Gail Emms joining us, who reached the very top in badminton. She was world champion, European champion, Olympic silver medalist. And we just want to find out a little bit more about, we've spoke to a lot of these guys that come onto the pod about reaching the top of their sports. We want to understand kind of the mental battles that Gail went through to get to the top in her career, and also the mental battles she's kind of faced since retirement.
Yeah, I think her post-retirement story is really interesting and one that we will dive into as well. So let's get her on.
Let's do it.
Welcome to the FCE Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to go slightly back to front and kick off with your retirement after Beijing, if that's okay.
That's fine.
What I want to understand is, obviously the next Olympics would have been 2012 London, a home Olympics. So was there any temptation just to give it one more shot and carry on for those 4 years?
Yes, obviously when I heard, London was happening, it's always going to be in the back of your mind, and you sort of think home Olympics, home crowd, how special it will be. But the thing is, I was born too early and in Beijing I was 31 years old, and if I'd have carried on to London, that meant I would be 35. Now, as you probably know, in sports, if you're carrying on to that age, you're pushing things, you're pushing your luck, basically. Sport is a young person's game. And at 31, I had just finished 5th in the Beijing Olympics. Now, I had this feeling, and I was like, I'm 31 years old and I finished 5th. I've been number 1 in the world, and that was 2006, 2007 era. For me, I was starting to feel like I was going down.
Okay.
And I know lots of people who don't mind that, who will carry on and push out a sports career for as long as possible. They don't mind. It's, they carry on. They go to London 2012, even if they were the last place. I am not like that. If I go to the Olympics, I want to go and win it. I don't see the point of being in there to make up the numbers. I don't see the point whatsoever. So if I can't do, if I'd have won gold in Beijing, maybe. The fact I came 5th, and I actually came on to start, I can't get any better. I did think like that. I knew that 5th was my gold medal, and I couldn't have done any more. So do I push for another 4 years? It's 4 more years of giving up your life. It's not just, a bit of training here and a bit of training there. It literally is. You have to give up everything. And am I allowed to swear?
You're allowed to swear, absolutely.
Basically, I'm not going to do it anymore. I want it all my life, and I want to see what else I can do. And as you go through life, sort of training full time, you start questioning a lot. And especially when you get older, you start questioning everything. And mentally, I was getting to that point of like, is this all I can do with my life? Is hit a shuffle over in net? And that's what you start thinking. Your brain starts playing, sort of just, it starts going. And I thought, I've got to be more than this. There have to be more to me than just hitting shuffles. And that's why I just thought, nah. It would have been amazing to be, part of London. I knew that I could have been, I could do it in another way. So hung up my racket straight after.
And no regrets while you were sat watching 2012?
Well, yes, obviously. I was crying my eyes out, going, oh, stop that. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. I was watching it going, I'm not in it. It shouldn't be happening. If I'm not in it, there should be no Olympics going on. It was heart-wrenching. It was gutting. It was everything. And I could see all the athletes, and I was part of the opening ceremony, because all the Olympic medalists got onto the sort of the track as the flame was lit. So I was there, and part of me was just like, give me a tracksuit, come on. I want to have a go. But that's the way the world is, that you have to retire at some point. And unfortunately, like I said, I was born too early.
So were you then ultra critical throughout 2012 before the badminton players?
It is hard not to be, it's hard to be really unbiased because you've got so much emotion. So I had the emotion of my own retirement plus emotion of knowing people, and it's a real big skill to just like get rid of all of that and just talk as, you know, someone who's completely neutral. And I did find it hard. So yeah, it was an interesting time for me, a big learning curve. Yeah, an emotional one as well.
So Gail, tell us a bit about how you got into badminton in the first place, if we go backwards slightly. I mean, it's not a sport that it's kind of not the most played sport in the country. So how
you
did it come about?
You say that. Badminton's actually the 5th most participated
Really?
sport. Yeah.
Is it really?
Wow.
We've got loads of badminton players out there. We've got lots of I would like to call them the badminton geeks. It's really well played. It's actually more popular than tennis because it's easier to play. Because it's indoors, you got more courts, you know, and it's cheaper generally. So you have actually got loads of badminton clubs around the country. Have you read Matthew Syed's book, Bounce?
I haven't. I've heard of it.
Yeah, okay.
It's one of my favourite books.
So you know that Matthew grew up on the same road, and at the end of the road there was a table tennis little like sort of it was
club,
club. Yeah, it was sort of Boy Scouts, Scout Club or something.
That's it.
Anyway,
yeah.
At the end of the road, Scout Club with table tennis tables, and because it was accessible, he went there and played a lot. So it was exactly the same for me. I lived around the corner from a tin hut that had 3 badminton courts in there.
Okay.
And because it was accessible, because my parents were members, I used to get dragged along, and when they were playing with their friends, I used to sit in the corner and sort of kind of wait my turn, and that is it. There's no glamour, there's no world-class facility. I'm all about making sure that sports clubs and sports are accessible to young people, because if they are, then they will go there because they want to be there, they'll learn. And that's, you know, it was normal for me. It was normal to be sporty. I've got a sporty mum. So my mum was one of the first lionesses. She played in the Women's World Cup in 1971.
Oh, wow. There we go.
There you go. So I had this incredible role model, a really sporty mum who was also pretty good at badminton as well. Yeah, she couldn't teach me football because there was nowhere for me to go and play football. So when she played, so she was 19 when she played in the first Women's World Cup. Yeah. And when she came back, she got banned by the FA for 2 years for going out there and playing because women weren't suitable to play football. So she had all this talent and she couldn't teach me, because even if she did teach me, I didn't. There were no girls' clubs, you know, when I was growing up. So the only way she could do was like encourage me to do other sports, and badminton was just one of them. And like I say, it's normal. That was my childhood in this tin hut playing a bit of badminton.
So at what stage did you realise that you were better than the average badminton player? Was it obvious from an early age, or did that come later?
No, and I sort of always stress it. There was no natural, instant, whoa, you know, YouTube sensation. There was none of that. Because I played quite a lot, I did pick it up. And I guess with kids, you know, the more you practice, funny enough, you know, you end up quite good kids. Yeah, good thought. So yeah, I think I was about 7, and I got put forward for an under 11 tournament. So it was like a Bedfordshire under 11 tournament, and they were sort of unsure whether to put me forward because I was so young. It was like a 4-year gap, and I'm small, so anyway, so I was, you know, 7 years old. Really, I was the smallest in the class, and again playing against girls that were 4 years older than me. I rocked up, and I actually got to the final. So, and all these girls were like, oh my God, you know, and that's when I knew that, oh, you know what, I'm all right at this. Yeah, so, that started it all off.
Jack, I don't know what you remember from playing badminton at school, but I always used to think I was really good until I played against someone who was actually good. I was like, I'm terrible at this sport.
It was never a sport I really played, Cal, to be honest, mate. Whenever I did, I wasn't particularly great at it. No. That's why I asked the question. In South East London, there's no badminton courts in South East London.
No, you'll be surprised. You know,
there probably is,
little hidden gems, but yeah, it's one of those sports. It's really good to mix with other sports, actually. So it helps rugby players, it helps footballers with their agility and reactions and stuff like that. And you're probably not going to get injured with it. So I do teach other sports people. So when they're doing, you know, sort of like sprint training, I do the sort of sprint and agility side and the reaction. And a lot of people don't see it on TV, or they don't know about it. They play maybe at school and they can sort of know what it's like, playing in the back garden. It's only when they see it on TV or they see it in Olympics and they go, oh, it's quite fast. And you're like, yeah, because the guys are smashing at over 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, incredible.
And I can smash a shuttle harder than Andy Murray can serve in tennis. So when people understand the speed of it, then they're like, oh, and I get, oh, I'll beat you though, I'll beat you. You're like, no, you won't. You won't even get a point off me. So it's hard, because badminton in people's heads is the sport that you play in your back garden over the washing line or whatever. So it can be frustrating, that's for sure.
So Jack, we're learning loads here. You can tell Gail does quizzes every night. So the 5th most played sport, she can do a smash faster than Andy Murray. I'm going to be stato after this one.
Yeah. I think that one's come up already, actually. So the smashing one, but I haven't got the participation one up. So that'll be tomorrow night. Okay, all right.
Brilliant, cool.
So Gail, you mentioned the Olympics, and actually that is my first real memory, and I remember you playing in the final in Athens in 2004. I remember it quite clearly, actually.
Don't tell me how old you were, though, please. Okay.
Do you want to know?
It's depressing. It's so depressing.
I was only 11. So it was my real first kind of memory of badminton.
Okay.
So just tell us a bit about that, going to an Olympics. I know you'd have played into big competitions anyway. I think the Commonwealth Games, for example. But tell us what it felt like to go to an Olympic Games. I mean, Cal and I were talking the other day about what it's like to go to an Olympic village, and we were talking to one of our other guests about that feeling of walking onto an Olympic village and you've got kind of the best athletes from around the world all in one place. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, the first initial. I was 27 when I was so Athens was 27, because I missed out for Sydney by one place. So I think Athens was probably more emotional because of that, because I was probably meant more. I know this sounds really, and I don't mean this to any of the young ones. I mean, like Tom Daley was 14 when he was in Beijing, for instance. Yeah. I don't mean this, but sometimes when the older you are, because it's been a harder journey, you've been up, down, wanted to give up so many times, that I think the first couple of days I was just I was just crying, because I just thought of all that time that I probably shouldn't be there. So what you have to really calm your emotions down, because it does go through, everything goes through your mind. It goes through, you start having these flashbacks of your PE teachers and or your mum going to the neighbour, Gail's destined for the Olympics, and and you think, oh my God, it's actually come true, and you're part of something very, very special. And you're right, you walk into the Olympic Village and you got all your kit on, and I think the first person I stood next to on the bus was Ian Thorpe, the Australian swimmer. Yeah. So you do instantly get
How big were his feet?
I looked at his feet. I did look at his feet. They were huge, like size 15 or size 16. There you go, another quiz question.
I think it's 17. I think.
Is
it more than? Oh, there you go. Oh my God. Yeah, Facts. I did look at the feet. So but it's like it. But then you look around, it's like a big circus, because everyone is all these different shapes and sizes, and you've got the really tall like basketballers, and they're like over 7 foot. You've got these tiny gymnasts, you've got these massive weightlifters, and it's just like, it's a circus. All these different colours of the flag, and it's you're sort of like, whoa. So it is an emotional time at the start, and then you have to calm it down, and then you have to get into the zone again. So it can be quite overwhelming. And it's the ones that kind of can control that and then just go out onto the the arena and perform. That's actually quite hard to do.
And you touched on the fact that there was, in the UK, is a really well played game, but actually when you step up to that world level, do you feel like a country like China, where they've got a number of athletes that represent them at badminton, do you feel, as the sort of small Great Britain, do you feel almost a bit of a disadvantage, or when you go into one of those major games and one of those major tournaments, that you maybe haven't had that competition at home that they may have had?
Yeah, part of you does like, well, you've played against them over the tournaments, and sometimes you do feel a bit like, technically they're so much better than me. The way they move is so much better than me, and the fitness, the strength, everything about their game is better, and you think, why am I doing this? 100 million people in China play badminton. Why the hell am I choosing this sport to, But then part of you just loves that challenge of it all, and you think, well, if I can't beat them at strength, and I can't beat them in fitness, and I can't beat them technically, how am I going to beat them? That's where sport really comes into effect. That's where sport is brilliant, because I should not beat the players that are coming through the China system. I'm from Bedford. I played in a tin hut. There was we didn't even have heating in that tin hut. So that's what I love about sports, that you can get these magical partnerships. And that's what it was with me and Nathan, is the fact that together the two of us just clicked, and we would never have been able to take on China on our own.
No.
Yet together we were. And there were lots of shots in badminton that I can't do. That I'm not naturally skillful. I'm, like this. Yeah, I hold the racket wrong, so I've got the wrong grip. Everything.
Brilliant.
Yet, with loads of hard work and the right people, you can achieve. And I think that's something that's really, I quite, not that I'm going to stick two fingers up to China, but it does. It does so kind of go, there you go. You might be able to smash at 240 miles an hour, but I just got that back. So it's that mental battle. It's that challenge. It's why we play. It's why we watch it. It's knowing that there's always twists and turns in it.
So you touched on your partnership with Nathan, and we'll come back to that in a second. I just want to, because Jack alluded to it earlier, that we had David Smith, the Paralympian, on, and he spoke about really not enjoying the Olympics because the pressure was so great to achieve. Did you feel that same pressure, or did you just sit back and say, right, I'm going to enjoy this for every second it is?
It's very hard to enjoy pressure, and it's only moments. There are only moments in your life that you do actually enjoy it, and that's what it's really hard just to click and go, yeah, I'm loving this. It's kind of like about normalizing it and accepting it. That's what resilience is under pressure. And I think David's right. You can put too much on yourself. You can put too much expectation. The trouble is with sport, it's a bubble. You sometimes think it's the only thing that's happening in the world, because it's that, I remember someone, I was playing a tournament, and I was obviously in the zone, and I'm a very different person now than I was when I was playing. I had, lots of barriers up. I was quite bitchy, it was just my guard to be like, what do you want? Just because I didn't want to let anyone in. I had to be this warrior character. And I remember someone just turning around to me and going, smile. And I was like, oh, whatever, piss off. And, start rolling my eyes. And then it was like, actually, even if I do lose this match, the world will still turn, the world will be all right, and actually I just smiled. And we sometimes forget, and sports people and the people around in sport, and athletes, anyone, coaches, we forget why we are doing it. And that's what happens. That's when the pressure suddenly gets builds and builds and builds, because we forget that actually we are human. We forget that we did it because we love it. We forget that we did it because we're good at it. All those sort of simplistic things about sport, that true essence sometimes gets forgotten about, and suddenly it's all about winning. I must win. I have to win. If I don't win, this is going to happen. And it's like, come on, we're all right, and that's the key, is just remembering that at the right moments, just to not let it get too much.
I mean, one person we mentioned him briefly earlier, but Nathan was your partner for a lot of your career, and when you had your real success, it was generally with Nathan. So he must have had to break down some of those barriers for you to form that relationship that you did.
Was it him who told you to smile?
No, me and Nathan didn't like each other at all. We are very different characters. We have very, very different outlooks in life, different views on stuff. Honestly, we are very, very different, and most of the time we didn't like each other. we're the same school year. So he's 2 months older than me. And we met each other when we were probably about 13 years old. So we've known each other for years. So it's actually 30 years now we've known each other. So even at juniors, we played together at juniors. I just thought, honestly, we didn't even talk to each other on court. I literally just used to throw him a shuffle like that, and just sort of like do that, go like roll my eyes constantly, because he just annoyed me. And the same back, by the way, he says the same about me. You know, he just thought I was just, you know, a stuck-up cow, and you know, we really, really didn't like each other. When we started playing again in seniors, we still didn't really. We weren't friends. It was weird. It was because, you know, he's a maverick character. He really is. And he's like the people that we, you know, sort of the press like to write about, you know, the Danny Cipriani's, the Kevin Petersons, you know, they're the rule breakers. That is Nathan. And it's really hard to be with someone like that, to know that sometimes on the good days, it's pure brilliance, but on the bad days, it's hell. But you do it because you actually genuinely believe in this person and you respect the person, even though you might not like each other.
Yeah.
And that was the only way that we could work together. We are friends now. Ironically, we are very, very close now. Yeah. So once we finished, we actually we had that ability to sort of be friends. But when we were, I don't know if I could say we were friends. We were probably colleagues that just, you know, if we couldn't train together that much, we probably trained with each other twice a week, and if we did any more, then we'd kill each other. So
really,
but was that maybe a good platform to start a successful partnership under, because you could just be brutally honest with each other?
I agree. I think so. Yeah. I think so. I needed that barrier, and I'm very happy I had that barrier. But we've got 2 mixed doubles partnerships, the Great Britain partnerships. They are both, one's married to each other and one have just gone into a long-term relationship with each other. And I'm like, mate, what are you doing? Like, no way. We could just imagine, you know, like, you know, serving dinner going, what happened at 5-all? You know, you did this, and you just can't leave it alone. You know, I love the fact that I could park it, you know. I didn't have to, you know, I didn't have to have that, you know, be nice with each other. You're right. You can have those honest relationships, honest conversations, and you know, sort of, have disagreements, and it's actually okay. But I don't know how you can do that when you're married. Bloomin' neck. Yeah. I don't. Yeah. Definitely not me, Nathan.
That's why she didn't go to London 2012. She couldn't help them anymore.
They were becoming friends.
I know. He didn't retire. He went on and played with someone else.
Yeah.
So basically, I thought he was going to say, "Oh, Gail, I can't play without you. You know, you're my lobster," and all that sort of stuff. No, got a tall brunette in called Jenny, like 10 years younger than me. I was like, what? Oh my God, like didn't even like get, you know, not even someone like me. It was like watching your ex with a new girlfriend or a new partner, and I was like, oh my God, how can you do this to me? So and he tried to qualify to London with her, and you know, as part of me was like, don't qualify. I don't want you to. How dare you? So,
I love that. That's brilliant. That's a gem of a story. So obviously, silver medal at the Olympics in 2004 turned to gold in the World Championships.
Yeah.
What was that feeling like? Just the pinnacle.
Yeah, I've got it here somewhere.
Oh wow! This is a first. She
said.
Oh,
don't disappoint us now.
For those that are just listening to the podcast, Gail's currently looking around with a bottle of Bud in her hand rather than the gold medal. She's looking for the gold medal, but has only got a bottle of Bud in her hand. That's
a really good point. I'm sure I have them.
This is what fascinates me about top sports people.
Yeah.
Gail has got the world gold medal somewhere. She's currently looking under her desk.
I know, I really
has no idea where it is. I mean, it would be on the wall for me.
Well, sometimes I wear it, you know, just around the house. Just if I'm having a bad day, you know, just do the washing up in it. I have done the school run wearing it though.
Really?
Because you know what, those yummy mummies me off, and they're like driving their 4x4s going mee, mee, mee. And I just thought, the amount of hassle they give me. So I thought, I'm going to wear my medals. So I did the school run wearing my medals, and I felt so much better. I really did.
Brilliant. So there was David telling us that his gold medals, he doesn't know where they are, or they're in a box somewhere.
Oh, really?
And there's you saying you do the school run, and I love that. That's brilliant.
Yeah. Well, I think because basically I think they got with me as I did a joke. I think it's the mum's race. I turned up in full Olympic kit, right? It's a joke, right? So, and I was like doing all the stretching. So my mate Belinda basically set me out. She was like, "Go on, wear your full Olympic kit," you know. And I was like, "All right, fine." I wasn't actually gonna run the race in it. I was just to, you know, annoy them. Yeah. So I started by going by the car, doing a few stretches and stuff. Had a headband and everything. And one of the mums went to, like, basically complained about me. Said she shouldn't be entering. She shouldn't be entering. No joke. Like. And it was just like, it was a joke. It was a joke. Oh my God. I think I've had, you know, Olympics to mum's race. I think I'm all right. I don't know, you know, it's not my goal in life right now. And so I just wear the medals on the school run. No, I don't know where they are actually.
So that's slightly disappointing. I'm sure we can get you to send a picture of you holding them up for the preview or something. But tell us about that feeling of actually winning that, even though you can't find it now.
feeling panic right now. It's really weird. So the first emotion was relief. Okay. It was relief. I was just so tired. And I think that 2006 was such a crazy year. And I just remember going, oh, thank God for that. And it's horrible to admit it, but sometimes, you know, people think that you know, sort of have this, it's the best day of my life. Honestly, I was just so glad it happened and we won, and you can shut some people up and you can tick a box and kind of, right, that's done, let's move on to the next one. It was like that for me. It was my job to win that medal. It was my job to go and win that World Championships. And so I don't know if I really fully enjoyed it. I think I can look back at it, and I can look back at the team around us and the way we went about it, that camaraderie, sort of being part of something special. I can look back and reflect on that and go, oh my God, it was amazing what we did and what we achieved. And to say you are number one in the world is pretty awesome.
Amazing.
But at that time, I think it was just so, thank God for that, you know. So sometimes I look back and I wish I'd enjoyed those moments more.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, some sports you can do that because of the way the competition schedule is, and you know, but that year was horrendous. We had the Europeans, we had Commonwealth and World Championships all in one year. And I remember just getting to that point going, I'm so tired. And it's not the physical side, it's the mental side that people don't realise. And I think, I'm glad I can look back now and sort of kind of enjoy that and get those emotions. But the actual honest answer is that it was more, oh, thank God, now I can sleep. Yeah.
Did you party hard though before you had that?
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm so tired that night. We had a flight home the next day, and you're so tired and you're so dehydrated that you just sort of end up going. And actually, if you have a couple of beers or whatever, but because you know when you get those dehydration headaches, because you've been drug tested and you've done all that sort of stuff, and by the time you're showering, it's quite late when you go out. So you think, all right, I'm just going to get this, but you actually like that going, so yeah, it wasn't the craziest night of my life, but you know, it was nice to just sort of be part of the team and go out for some food and stuff. But yeah, I've made up for it in other ways, but that night was so, yeah, God, I should have partied harder, you know, but yeah, it was probably a bit of an anticlimax, that one.
And can you look back now? You've looked back on your whole career. You've retired, and you can look back on all the successes, the World Championship, the being number one in the world, Olympic silver. Can you look back now and are you pleased with what you achieved in the game?
I'm pleased because I overachieved, and that's really rare in sport. I think that you'll speak to many athletes, and maybe ones that have the potential to do this, or maybe they're the golden child in that sport. The reason why I can look back and actually be quite smug, and I mean that in a nice way, is the fact that no one ever thought I was going to achieve what I was going to achieve. Not one person, really? Not even my mum, and even parents. So you're like, woo! But no, no one would have said what I would have done. And that is a really, really good feeling, because you don't have that. When you speak to some athletes, they've had to retire because someone, they didn't get on with a manager, or they've been let go by a club, or an injury or something like that. For me, I literally was like, I got to number one in the world. I won everything apart from the Olympics, and I got kicked off the program loads of times because I wasn't seen good enough. Everyone thought that I wasn't going to make it. So yeah, I kind of look back and go,
I did that. That's great.
Yeah.
So we started off with your retirement, and I'd actually like to go back to your retirement, and just because I read some bits over the weekend about your struggles of you dedicated your career to being a top athlete, and you absolutely achieved that. And then all of a sudden at 31, you decided to stop when you were ready rather than push it any further. How did you find the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years of just trying to restart your life, almost, is what I read the other day?
They say that a sports person dies twice. And when I first read that, I sort of, it was a bit whatever, but it's true. It's horrible. The day you retire, you stop being a sports person, you stop being an athlete. And bearing in mind, most people in sport have started at a very, very young age. Yeah. Sort of 4, 5, 6, or even, just those really influential times of their life. So they've been doing something that they've loved. It's been part of their, their soul, their makeup, their environment, their friendships, everything. And that's been their life, and it's been their dream and focus and dedication and everything. And then suddenly, the right time's right. For me, I knew there was the time right. So I was like, right, I'm going to retire. No one prepares you for retirement. No one sits you down and say, this is how you're going to feel. No one sits you down and asks you what you're going to do once you've finished. It is a conveyor belt. And I think this is my biggest realization, and this is what I want to stop happening in sport. Sport at the moment is like robots on a conveyor belt, and then they might fall off there, they might go on a bit more, and they fall off, or if not, they go to the end and then they go, whoo, they fall off the cliff. And that happens because you're a commodity. You are right, oh, who's our next big thing? Okay, who's going to win the medal next? Who's going to get our funding? Who's going to keep that? And it might be you, and it might be you, and it might be you. But if you get injured, oh, you're weak, get rid of you. We want the strong ones that come through, and that's what it is. And then, so when you do get to the end, you're useless or worthless to the sport. So they just go, oh, okay, fine, off you go then, girl, cheers. And then you're like,
what now?
oh, real world.
Yeah.
oh, and that is what happens. And sports people have big egos. And what I thought was going to happen doesn't happen, and I hold my hands up. I should have been better prepared. It should have come from me, but it didn't, and I was left in limbo, and it was horrible. I crashed. So you start that adrenaline, woo, I can take over the world, and then suddenly you realize that you're nobody, and you're back all the way down to the bottom, and that was just heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking. So yeah. It was really horrible, and it's not. The thing is, you have to go through it, but no one helps you get through it, and that's why I want transition to be the best it can be. It's going to hurt, and it will do for every athlete. But if you've got that support there, then it doesn't have to be as bad, or you
So
don't feel alone.
Yeah, so what are you actually doing to help athletes so they don't end up in the same situation of you, of just falling off that elevator? How are you preparing them for full retirement?
Well, awareness to start with. So even at 18, 19, if they suddenly, become professional, straight away we work with them. So it's a company like LAPS, for instance, Lifestyle Professional Sport, that we talk about career options, because anything can happen. You get an injury, you can let go, or whatever. So talking about education, talking about actually, do think about plan B, do think about plan C. What do you want to, because you will stop at some point, and normalizing the talk about it. It's not, I think people are scared to talk about, your life afterwards, but now
Definitely.
we realize that actually athletes want to talk about it, and the more mature they are off the pitch by doing courses and learning about different things and different careers, they're actually better athletes, because they're actually it's actually good training for them. Life, be better people. So therefore, if they're going to be better people, they're happier people, which are going to be better on the pitch or on the field. So it's just all that sort of stuff. And then when it does happen, encouraging to talk around other athletes. Don't have to, it's not about counselling, it's not about therapy, it's not about whatever. It's just talking and saying, oh my God, I feel like this today, because oh yeah, I felt like that as well, and you just, again, normalizing these feelings. As athletes, we're kind of made to feel that we have to be like gladiators, and we have to be strong, and we have to do, battle through, and we're not. We're humans. And that's when the emotions hit, when you go through transition, this is when you realize you're human, and it hurts. You realize you're not a gladiator. So again, having those chats with other people just makes you realize you're not alone.
So it's obviously the mental health awareness is such a big thing now, and that clearly relates to what you're saying there. And I read something also about you doing a mental health awareness during lockdown for sportsmen and women.
Yeah.
And you did that with Lee Hendry, yeah?
Yeah, we did actually.
How did that go?
So me and Lee have known each other for a couple of years now. So we, when all the ex-sports people get sort of like pulled out now and again, and, on golf days and stuff like that, or in lunches. And I remember sort of meeting up with Lee, and he knew that I'd gone through some mental health problems. And obviously he's gone through some very severe ones as well. And so I was just like, look, if you want to chat about stuff, it's good to talk. And what was really interesting is, even though he's football and I'm badminton, it was really good to talk to someone not in your own sport.
Yeah.
And it was we learned so much from each other by talking about it and going, oh yeah, actually this is good and this is good. And then we were like, and Lee really wants to help people with, he doesn't want people to go through what he did. So I said, right, well, let's do something. And actually we were trying to start something up probably at the end of the year, but then obviously lockdown happened, and we sort of like started some messages and said, mate, if we're feeling like this and we feel, pretty much, I reckon you guys, of course, this, oh God, what's happened? I said, just imagine how athletes are feeling right now. And we were like, well, look, let's just make sure we get it out there that if anyone is feeling shit, there are people, and we are all feeling it, and it's okay to talk. So yeah, we literally just, probably fast forwarded it for quite a few months because of what's happened. And, I think it was the PFA had said that, 22% of footballers were feeling depressed, or, maybe even think about self-harm and stuff like that. And we were like, whoa. So yeah, and then obviously Lee was on Harry's Heroes, which he'd filmed. It was, again, allowing vulnerability, but in a good way. And again, it's just made people realize that sports people are human, and I think we've had, he's had a great response from that. So he's going to try and do more sort of mental health workshops from it.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think you're absolutely right. I think that program has been a real eye opener to a lot of people because it was so relatable, and it was so many people of the last, they're the iconic footballers of the last 20, 30 years, and they were all so open, and everyone looked at those as superheroes, and that they would never have any struggles. And I thought it was a brilliant program.
I mean, if you know them, and but the thing is, there's loads of other stories like that.
Sure. Yeah, I can imagine.
And that's why people, we need to stop this, no, can't talk about things.
Absolutely.
We've got to stop that. Yeah.
It's great that you're doing so much to raise awareness, and I like the cross sport comment, because you're all in the same boat. You're all athletes. You've all dedicated your life to a sport. It doesn't matter what sport that is, and you go through the same struggles afterwards. That's amazing.
And it's quite nice to be open to someone else who gets it, but doesn't feel. Sometimes you can't open up to someone in your own sport because you don't. It's always that, are they going to tell someone? Or I don't know, you just feel a bit like, especially if you're a small sport, you've got like a kind of a standing in it, then it's really hard to maybe admit, that you're struggling. So actually
almost
that's why
illustrating vulnerability.
Exactly. So that's why cross sports can be even more beneficial, because you don't know you don't know really, but you do get the emotional state. So that, which is the most important thing. And it's that trust. Sports people know, that I know, and that I know that I know, it's that feeling. You just know, I know. So yeah.
Brilliant. I'm really conscious that we've overrun and not have given you an opportunity to open your second beer. We always end it on an FCE question. So what we do, as we said at the start, is we do bespoke hospitality days at major sporting events, where we take everything away, all the hassle away from the client. So we will sort everything for you. If we could take you to one event anywhere in the world for an FCE experience, what would that be?
The thing is, I've been quite a lucky girl, and I've been to probably all the sporting events that I would like to go to. However, if I was to choose, then I would like to go to the Super Bowl, please.
Ooh, amazing. That's a new one.
Yeah, because I've done Wimbledon, done Monaco. I've been very, very lucky in that. So I've ticked off quite a few. But I think the Super Bowl, if you could just fly me in, like, can I have a helicopter in?
Yep. Oh, yeah, nice and cheap, yeah.
I never said I was cheap. I quite like that experience, the Super Bowl experience, because I think that, American sport, I've not properly done that. Obviously we're very British, and that would be probably what I would choose, if that's okay, please.
That's brilliant. That's a new one for us as well.
Oh, yay.
Perfect. Thank you so much for